Yo, what's good, meatheads? Hope you're having an amazing day and welcome to another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It's your returning champion, IFBB Pro Matt Butalian. Today, we are going to be breaking down something that you might find super shallow, okay? But I want to bring it up because I think it's something that's really important when we look at it through the right lens. Of course, the title is going to make you think, like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, this guy's an asshole. But I want you to actually pay attention to the bigger picture in today's episode, especially if you are a man that struggles with the way that you look. Okay, I'll be breaking down why being judged like the cover of a book essentially is a great thing. In fact, one of the greatest things that could ever happen to you if you're a man. Okay, because let's be honest here, nobody likes people that only pump your tires and try to make you feel good and all that stuff. I mean, it feels good, let's not deny that, but let's be for real as well. Like, if there was something wrong with you, like if you had toilet paper under your shoe, I want to actually just break this down, guys. You're going to know where I'm going with this very soon. If you had toilet paper under your shoe after you left the washroom, would you want your friend to tell you, hey, you got toilet paper under your shoe, you might want to clean that up? Or would you want your friend to just look at you and smile and look the other way and not tell you because they, are afraid of embarrassing you? Like, I personally would like to have somebody in my life or friends in my life that would tell me, dude, you have a fucking toilet paper under your shoe. Clean that shit up or get rid of it, right? Because at the end, the overall result is better. I don't have toilet paper under my shoe. I'm not going to walk around continuously embarrassing myself, all because of what? I had a friend that actually gave a shit to tell me the hard shit, to tell me the embarrassing shit, so that I don't have to continue to embarrass myself. And a lot of you guys struggle with this because you've got friends that either won't say anything about your weight, won't be honest with you when you're asking them questions. And those are kind of like the worst people to have around you. Yes, it feels good when they don't really point out the elephant in the room, but it does help you in the long term when you have people around you that are so honest, tell you, bro, this is fucked, or you should change this, whatever it is, so that you can actually have a better life. Right? So that's the core of today's episode. That's the number one thing we're going to be focusing on today. I'm going to be that friend for you. Okay, I'm going to be that friend for you if you don't have it. All right, like, and I might be a little bit blunt, but it's still worth listening to, guys. All right, it's still worth listening to. I want you to pay attention, guys. Some of you guys look like you paid to lose your virginity, and it shows. Like, confidence is something that so many men lack nowadays. I'm going to repeat that again. Some of you guys listening to this look like you paid to lose your virginity, and it really does show. Like, confidence is something that so many men lack nowadays. Having confidence makes you a better provider, it makes you a better performer, and it makes life a hell of a lot more fun. Take it from me. Okay, especially when you have the integrity to match your confidence. And no, I'm not saying I've always been perfect, but I can tell you, looking good alone isn't enough. Sure, it does help your confidence, but having integrity and having your integrity be mirrored by the way that you look, that's the trifecta. That's what you want. That's the whole package. Okay? Like, again, some of you, if not most of you, I think personally most men lack it nowadays severely. And not because they don't have personality, not because, you aren't witty, like, not because you're ugly. Like, most men have good characteristics and good charisma, good personality, and actually don't look half bad, even though they're overweight. Okay? But the reason why you struggle with your confidence as a man is because you do not do what you say you're going to do. Okay, guys, like, you don't do what you say you're going to do, and that's what really screws you up. Right? Like, you say you're going to go to the gym today, but you end up watching Netflix after work. Okay? You say you're going to eat clean and burn fat and just whatever it is, revamp your diet, okay? So that you can burn fat. But then again, on the other side, you end up eating at every fucking fast food joint or spamming Uber Eats and skip the dishes. Okay, you say you're going to finally burn the 30 pounds of fat and lose the love handles and melt your man boobs, but then what happens? You don't do anything about it. Okay? Like, you say you're going to go to the gym today, you end up watching Netflix after work. You say you're going to finally get your hanging belly under control. But when the time comes, you just don't do it. And that is the reason why you're overweight. Okay? That's, of course, we know having these habits is going to keep you overweight. However, it's not necessarily those habits themselves that are keeping you overweight. And let me break this down for you. What actually keeps you overweight is the fact that you do not have integrity. You don't actually believe what the fuck you say you're going to do. So whenever you tell yourself, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do whatever it is, you say it and you know already in your heart and your chest, it's not possible, it's not going to happen, because every time I say something, it doesn't happen. Your inability to change your life, your inability to change your body, to burn fat, to bend reality to your will, stems from your inability to believe in yourself. Like, you don't do the things you say you're going to do. And that causes you to lose trust within yourself. And because you lose trust within yourself, you also lower your self-respect. And when you end up lowering your self-respect because of your lack of trust in yourself, you end up hurting your own confidence. Okay? And when that happens, it's like, it's not going to make you believe anything that you say you're going to do. And anything that you say you're going to do is just never going to happen. And you already kind of know that when you speak about it, which sucks. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not perfect myself. I've been in that position as well. It doesn't matter how jacked you are, how fat you are. It sort of stems into everything in your life. Your work, your relationships, okay, your family, everything. All right. And it's a horrible place to be in mentally. I'll tell you that with experience, because that's where all of your dreams and all of your goals go to die. All right. It will ruin your friendships. It will ruin your family and your relationships and so much more. The lack of integrity, guys. The inability to tell the truth to yourself. The inability to trust yourself. And again, you know how it goes. If you can't trust yourself, you can't trust others. Even if you aren't intentionally trying to not trust others, it's just because of the way you are mentally that you aren't able to trust other people, because you cannot trust yourself with the promises that you make to yourself, because you don't even keep them. Okay, and your conscious self-sabotage is the only thing that's making you feel this way. It's nobody's fault or responsibility. Like, your lack of confidence comes from your inability to confide in and trust in yourself. Does that make sense? Like, when you understand that, you'll understand that it doesn't matter that you have all the charisma in the world, and even that you have all the game in the world to attract, the best job that you want, the dream girl, or whatever it is. Like, you can have all the game in the world, right? But let's look at it, guys. Let's talk about girls even. Like, most of you guys listening to this will never approach the girl that you actually like, because you fear that she can see your man boobs peeking through your shirt. You fear that your gut hanging over your belt and your love handles bleeding out your fucking pants is going to deter her when you walk up to her. Like, guys, your extra body fat is the product of you breaking promises to yourself. It's sort of not even about the fact that you're fat. It's about the fact that all the choices that you made ended up putting you in a position to now where those choices that you made are visible. And you fear not just being that person, but you fear that they can see all your bad choices. And that's on the subconscious level. You fear that they can see all the promises that you've been breaking to yourself. And guys, this doesn't only apply to a physical level of just body fat. This can be anything. Literally anything in your life. Think about it and apply it. Wherever you've been breaking promises to yourself, you can apply this. Okay? And because you're doing these things, and because you're the product of breaking all your promises to yourself, it is robbing you of your confidence. Does that make sense, guys? Like, sit with it. It is robbing you of your confidence. All right? And in order to change this, you need to look in the mirror and commit to never fucking breaking promises to yourself again. It's the only way we can fix this. And you need to build trust within yourself in order to build confidence in order for you to be the man you know you're dying to be. And guys, they say beauty is on the inside. They say, and I quote, it's what's in the inside that counts. And I personally disagree to an extent. All right. I personally think looks matter because looks are a part of confidence and confidence matters. But more importantly, trust in yourself matters. And I say that it's honestly a mix of what is inside and what is outside. And that's why I also agree why you should want to be judged by the way you look. You should be okay with them judging the book by its cover. Okay, you should be okay with being judged like the book on the cover. And why? Well, because not because you really have anything to show off, but because what's inside the book should reflect how and why the cover of the book looks the way it does. Does that make sense? Like, yes, they say don't judge the book by its cover. But could you imagine if judging the book by its cover revealed things about the contents of the book? So if the cover of the book looks bad, we can probably put a bet that the things inside the book are pretty bad. And if the cover on the book looks good, we can make the opposite bet that the things in the book are good. Okay? Like that's how we should approach this. You shouldn't be offended if people don't want to hang out with you or don't want to do things or whatever it is with you because on the surface you look and you act in a certain way. Because we can change those things. We can change the way we look. We can change the way we act. The way we look is the cover of the book, and the way we act that provides us the image of the book is what's inside. That's the content. Does that make sense? Like, guys, if the internals match the externals, you're bound to be more confident in your everyday life. And this is in all aspects, not just you burning body fat. Like, think of all of the goals and the dreams and the promises to yourself or even your younger self that you've made within yourself that you haven't lived up to. The dreams you've abandoned, the promises you folded on to yourself and others and your family. Think of those things and how, if you were able to execute those things, it would make you feel and how it would make you look. Again, that's contrasting what's inside the book with what's on the outside of the book. And you want that shit to match. And the only way to get that shit to match is to trust in yourself and to have some fucking integrity. Does that make sense? If it does, just nod your head silently. Again, guys, on the Meathead of the Mic podcast, we normally, talk about food, we talk about training, we talk about supplements, and I try to educate you guys and give you guys value on that type of stuff. But sometimes, like today, it's about mindset. And I need to help you understand that, like, the way you think, the way you operate, where your mental health is, where your stability is mentally, is going to dictate how far you actually get within your fitness journey, primarily because, again, we talk about fitness most of the time, but also in your life. If you are unable to be real with yourself, if you are unable to take constructive criticism from people around you, then it's very, very unlikely that you'll be able to succeed in your life. If you're one of those people that say you're going to do something and then you don't do it, that's probably the reason why you don't like the way you look. It's probably the reason why you don't like where you live. It's probably the reason why you don't like your life. Seriously. Like, there's nothing really wrong with you. I mean, I'll say there's nothing really wrong with you that you don't know is wrong. You know everything that you're doing. And getting to where you need to go or want to go isn't as hard as you think. The only thing stopping you is yourself. Seriously. Like, think of it. You know all of the things that you need to do in order to be happier. You know that you want to lose the weight. You know that you want to make a little bit more money. You know that you want to do whatever it is. You have those promises, those goals you made to yourself and your family. You know what these things are. You know how to achieve them, but you're just not doing them. And the fact that you are not doing them is keeping you in a position where you don't like what's going on. But the solution, the fix to that, is to literally just do it. As Nike would say, I got my Nike I don't know if you guys watching this on the live stream or the video, you can see the Nike undershirt that I've got on. And some people say that's why they try not to make promises. I disagree with that. I think you should still try to make promises, but before you make promises to other people, you make these promises to yourself. And nothing crazy, but something that you can actually do. Like if you live your life never making promises to yourself, you're going to be sort of walking with your tail in between your legs and not doing anything about the things you really want. Because you know you want these things, but you're afraid to commit to wanting them because you know on a deep level that every single time you promise something to yourself, you're going to break it. And that's why you don't want to make promises to yourself or other people. I personally would recommend making these promises to yourself first and living by them. And then once you can prove to yourself that you can trust yourself and that you can do the things that you want to do, that you say you're going to do, that you promise yourself, then you can start doing that with other people once you begin to master that. Nobody listening to this, nobody watching this should fear committing to what they really want. I want you to dive all the way in. Don't be afraid to make a promise to yourself. Don't be afraid to make a promise to other people once you master making promises to yourself. Because that's really how we get what we want out of life and get to where we need to go. Okay? You heard the saying, scared money don't make none. You know you want money, and if you're too scared to work for it, you're never going to get it. That doesn't mean never promise yourself that you're going to work hard enough to get that thing, whether it's money or burning fat or whatever it is. It is a scary commitment, especially when you've been stuck in the loop and the habit of like committing and never doing it. Like, I get it. You already don't trust your words. So you're so afraid of, you trust yourself so little that you're afraid to commit and promise your own fucking self. Like, think of it. I've been there. And I'm speaking with experience. I've been on both ends. You know, I promise myself that I'm going to do this thing and then I don't do it. And then I promise myself that I'm going to do this thing and then I do it. And I can compare how I feel. And even though it could be 100 million times harder to do the work that's required to get to the point where I actually achieve the thing that I promised to myself, it always feels better knowing that, hey, there is something in my life that I wanted and it did suck like ass. It hurt, it whatever it was. Sometimes it's easy, most times it's not. But I did the thing that was required in order to get to this position, and thank God I did. You know, like it really shows you your own true power, that you actually do have the control over your life that you think you don't have. You know, like you always, and again, there's some people here on the live stream here. I'm not going to name them because I've got all the respect in the world, and plus, I don't really like naming people on the podcast. But when I do go live after the podcast is recorded, then we can talk. But this person says, you know, everybody wants something from someone. You know, it's pretty cynical, I know, but it's what I've seen. And let's be honest here, we're human beings. Everyone's going to want something from someone, down to the very basic level. You want respect from people. You want love from people. Okay, you want attention from people. People want things from people. We are social animals. Okay? And no, I don't believe that you should make your life about what people want unless you have kids, because whatever they want should be your number one priority. However, if you treated yourself like the human being that human beings are, and you understood that you have wants yourself, you want something from yourself, I wouldn't call that cynical. Okay? And it's true. I believe that human beings just intrinsically want shit from other people. Like, your wife is going to want love from you. And if you're a responsible man, your wife's going to want money from you, or finances, or support. And the same thing, you're going to want love from your wife. You're going to want attention from your wife. You're going to want, you know, things from your siblings, even attention, love, care, sometimes money. Like, people just want things, right? It's not your duty to make sure other people are fulfilled. It's their duty to make sure they're fulfilled. And when you are truly fulfilled, you will be able to fulfill others. It sort of does sound backwards, but that is the way it works. We all survived as a society, as human beings, by giving, by serving. Okay? And like, if we didn't, then there would be no such thing as families. There would be no such thing as friends, and there would be no such thing as society. Nothing would really matter because everyone does what they want for themselves. Okay? And to in a small way, that does matter. Like, in a small way, that's how it works. Like, do what you want to do for yourself so that you get yourself into a position where you can do for others, right? Not because it's a necessity, not because you owe them, but because you want to do it. You get to a place where you want to be that person. For men listening to this, you want to be a provider. You want to have so much abundance that, you can take care of your family, your kids, and still do the things in your life that you want to do. All right. You want to work so hard that you can achieve that dream, that goal, buy this house, buy this car, support a lifestyle for you and your family. And for women, you want to do certain things for yourself, probably even the same things, if not more, right? Like, these things apply to everybody. It all comes down to trust within yourself and integrity. Like, if you know that when you say something, it's already done, or if you know that when you say something, it's like pretty much going to happen, it's already happening, like it's guaranteed, you will not be afraid to make promises, because you'll never promise something that you know you can't do at that point. You will say no when you mean it, and you will say yes when you mean it. And that will keep you in a state of not even just confidence, but just congruency with your life. Like, you will feel like everything that you're doing is right. You won't lie. You won't cheat. You won't steal, because you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? That's when you get to that level of giving yourself what you want by working for it, and keeping to your promises over a period of time. Then you can get to a point where you can do that for other people. And that's what I want to talk about here, guys. It's not just about you burning fat. It's not just about you like making as much money as you could possibly make in this world or whatever it is. It's about you becoming literally a better person for the people around you by being better for yourself. That's the peak of this life. There's nothing better in this life than improving yourself to such a degree where people that are around you get improved just by being around you. That's the most valuable thing you can do or be as a human being, in my personal opinion, being of service. That's why I'm here, honestly, giving you time out of my day to share with you what's on my mind and help you if you struggle with this idea of, I don't want to make promises to myself because I know every time I say I'm going to do something, it doesn't happen. Or maybe you feel like you have dreams that you just gave up on. I want to help you remind yourself that you shouldn't give up on these dreams. And the reason why they're hard is because they're supposed to be. Because it is hard at the beginning to make promises to yourself and fucking keep them. It is hard at the beginning to actually trust yourself. But it is worth it. It's worth more than anything you could ever do. Because once you get to the point of like repeating that over and over, guys and girls listening to this, there's nothing in your life that gets better than that. Like, executing that over the course of your entire life is the difference between, like, let's say if you want to have a family, is the difference between your children growing up healthy physically and mentally and them not growing up healthy, and with their mentality and their physicality. Like, it's the one thing that makes everything better. I'll say that. If you ever felt like you wanted to change your world or make the world even 1% better, that's the only way you could do it. Not in theory, it's just true. Okay? And a lot of you guys, and again, I appreciate those that are on the live stream here sharing with us, because there are so many people that don't want to share with us because it's a little bit embarrassing, or they feel a little bit too shy, which is, I completely get it. I've been there before. But one of our supporters says, maybe I'm afraid of messing up in front of other people because I've snapped for less, honestly. So regardless of what it is, just whenever there's something that you're dealing with when it comes to other people and it makes you upset, look within yourself. If you were ever afraid of messing up in front of other people and that caused you to snap or to get angry or to do whatever it is that's irrational, look within yourself. How do you treat yourself when you mess up? You probably snap at yourself. You probably call yourself stupid. You probably call yourself incapable, right? You probably have a negative self-rhetoric. And how do I know this? Well, because you're speaking to the fucking guy himself. I understand that exact thought pattern. Most people are like that. We're honestly our harshest critics. We bully ourselves. Okay, and if you're snapping at other people for things that seem pretty minute, like you messing up or whatever it is, look at yourself. That has all your answers. And again, it all comes down to your ability to trust yourself, to promise yourself, and to stick with it, and to actually get the results that you said you wanted to get. Because when you get to that level of integrity, you won't even be afraid of messing up in front of other people, because you'll understand that you're a human being and that you can even mess up in front of yourself. And forgiving yourself for messing up in front of yourself will train you to forgive yourself when you fuck up in front of other people. Pour into your cup first, and you'll be able to realize how much abundance you can pour into others. It all comes back down to you. When you point at one thing or one person, there are always three fingers pointing back at you. And this is very cheesy. I'm well aware. This is like one of the corniest things you might ever hear, but it's true. It is true. And if you're listening to this, you know it. Okay? All right, guys. That's it. That's all. If you like this episode, share it out with a friend. I hope I was able to deliver a valuable experience to you guys and girls today. Let's embrace your inner meathead together. It's been nice chatting. Hope you like what today's topic was about. IFBB Pro, Matt Butale, signing out. Boom. All right, guys. Podcast episode's recorded. I really did like this one today. You know, I love talking about nutrition. I love talking about, training and stuff. Sometimes we need a little bit of mindset, because I find that without mindset, you can't really do anything. Like you can have all the information in the world, but the reason why you won't do it is because you're not in the right headspace. And the only way to get into the right headspace is to actually take a step back and look at what's in front of you. Okay. And yeah, we're off the air now, so I'm not going to put your name into somewhere where it's going to be there until the end of time. But Bianca, I appreciate you. I really do appreciate you for coming out here on Instagram and sharing with us some of these things, because I know a lot of people struggle with the same things. I personally have struggled with those things that you're talking about. So I appreciate you, Bianca. And so Bianca says, every time I look inside, it hurts. You know what I say to that? Good. You want to know why? Because the truth hurts. And if every single time you look inside, the truth hurts, that's something good. Because you can do something about that. You can really do something about that. All right? If every single time you look inside and it hurts, it's a good thing. Because the truth hurts and you can see the truth. And once you see the truth, you know what to do. That's your answer. I've been there. And when it hurts, man. It really fucking does. But at least, at the very, very least, you have ammunition. You have something to take from that you can apply to yourself to fix. Look inside, identify what hurts. Why does it hurt? How did you get to a point where it started to hurt you? How long has it been this way? What has it stopped you from being able to do? And once you have your who, what, how, when, where, all of that, and why, figure out the counter to that. Figure out what you need to do in order to negate all of those things, not just that one time, but continuously, so that when the next thing comes inside, the next thing that you look inside hurts, you know what to do and how to fix it. Does that make sense, Bianca? Some of the guys here on TikTok are like, who are you talking to? Well, people on TikTok, I'm not just on TikTok. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on YouTube and Facebook Live. So I'm responding to people everywhere. TED Talk show anymore. Hey, Justin, if you don't appreciate this and you want to talk shit, you can get the fuck out. Respectfully, I don't really care. All right. Yo, Felix, man, what's good? Andrew, what's up? Shout out to everybody that joined. I'm going to try to scan through some of the comments here if we do have any. Normally we don't do this, but I know a lot of people need help today, so I'm going to try my very best to just answer questions. Yeah, we have a lot of pretty stupid people on TikTok. I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's just population. Most people are dumb in the world, and just being honest, I don't know what to say. Some people are, you got a good head on their shoulders, but most people just don't. And I'm not saying that to be rude. It's literally just true. You go anywhere, you'll find out. That's just the way it is. Let's see here. What else have we got? What else have we got? Okay, I think that's pretty much it for TikTok. Yes, Bianca says yes, makes sense. I'm glad it does, and I appreciate you for being super vulnerable here today, Bianca. I really do appreciate you on Instagram. I hope this episode hit home for you. If you need to just break this down and like sit with this episode again, you can definitely tune into it on YouTube, or you can look at the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It's going to be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts about 30 minutes after we are off the air here. Just need to edit it up a little bit, and then once it's up, you'll be able to replay it as many times as possible. Again, that's episode number 224. Okay, 224. All right, it's called "You Should Be Judged by How You Look," or "Men Should Be Judged by How They Look." Still haven't married the title yet. So Bianca says, but in order to do that, I would actually need someone to talk to. Nobody needs to be concerned with my problems when everyone has their own. So this is one thing I'll tell you, Bianca. You don't actually need anybody to talk to when it comes to what's within yourself. Like you do, yes, it does help. I'm not going to say don't go reach out for help, don't reach out to people. I'm not going to say that. But if you put the crutch in your mind that like the only way I can fix this is if I have that and I cannot provide myself that thing, then you are pretty much confirming to yourself and promising to yourself that you're going to stay in that position as long as other people don't get you out. And newsflash, as hard as it sounds, nobody's going to save you. And you know that, which is why you said nobody needs to be concerned with my problems when everyone has their own. We all have our own problems. And nobody's going to prioritize you. Even your parents, to a certain degree, once you're an adult, maybe as a child, you know, they might be that person for you. But even your best friends, even your, like, whoever it might be, okay, it doesn't matter. You don't need to rely on someone or something to get you out of the position that you're in. It does help, but you'll even notice that when you start to make it other people's duty to get you out of the position that you're in, you'll feel like a burden. Even if they don't tell you, you will feel like a burden, and that just ends up making you feel worse. So what I would say is to take the absolute maximum amount of self-responsibility. And as hard as it feels so hard, you feel like you can't even do it yourself. Like that's part of what the pain is when it comes to the truth when you look within yourself. Like I know that. All right? Like you have to be able to look within yourself and deal with it. Yes, you can reach out, ask for help, confide in your buddies, confide in your parents or whoever it is, but also understand that it's not the responsibility to take you out of where you are, and that you are the only one with the true power to get you out of where you are. And once you give that control to yourself and you take full, like you take a ridiculous level of self-responsibility, then you'll have the only person to fix it will be you at that point, which is the only person that can fix it, if we're being honest. So you said, it's been said that everyone needs their inner child. When I was a child, I was too much for pretty much everyone. Sometimes I didn't want anything to do with mine. So again, you, Bianca, and I really do appreciate you sharing this with us because I can tell you're pouring your heart out here, and this really does mean a lot. I was supposed to be off the air about 7 minutes ago, but I give a shit, and I really do appreciate you being here. So I'm gonna over deliver as much as I can before I leave. But I felt the same way too growing up. You know, I'm one of 5 children, and it felt like I couldn't get the attention from my parents that I needed at the time. You know, as a child, and that I was too much for everybody. You know, I was always causing fights. I was always doing this. I was always doing that. And I felt like, you know, no matter what, if I wanted to reach out to somebody before I did those stupid things, it wouldn't matter because I'm already too much. And I felt like it was a waste. Yes, I was a child at the time. So I didn't really know how to handle those things myself. But now that I'm an adult, I can see how I like those things that I did that are negative, although I didn't like them. And I look at them, I'm like, fuck, I can't believe I did that. I'm also very grateful that I made those mistakes because I wouldn't even be the person sitting here talking to you today if I didn't do all those stupid things and didn't go through all that adversity. As a child, all the way through my adolescence to my adulthood, to my young adulthood, and later on into the rest of my life. Like you can feel that you're too much for everybody. The feeling doesn't necessarily mean that it's true, but the reason why you probably feel like that is because you feel like you're too much for yourself. Like you feel like you can't even help yourself. Like you feel like you need other people to dig you out of the position that you're in. and you're just looking elsewhere. You're looking, it's either I'm too much for everybody, I need someone to help me, and I'm not, I'm too much for everybody, so no one's going to help me. And you're just looking like everywhere else, because when you look inside, it hurts. When you look inside, it hurts. All right. And one thing I need you to do, because I'm going to be leaving right now, and I do appreciate Bianca, but one thing I need you to do after this live stream is over is just sit with yourself. And this is going to be hard to do, but look within. Ask yourself the who, what, where, when, how, and why about the pain that you feel inside. And then once you have your solid answers on that, you can write out on a piece of paper what you can do to fix the who, the what, the where, the when, the how, the why, and the how. And once you have that in front of you, you will know what to do. And this is the hardest part. Actually fucking doing the things you need to do to fix those things. That's the hardest part. But once you have that information, there's nothing else that's going to hold you back. And I'm telling you this because I've done this myself. And if this didn't work, I wouldn't tell you it. Just like the nutrition advice, just like the training advice. If it didn't work, I wouldn't tell it to you. And this is a little bit of mental advice. I'm not a therapist, but I've had a fucked up life, and I think you know that. You've had a fucked up life, and I know that. So take it from one person who's had a fucked up life to another that this might actually help. I still would recommend getting support. I still would recommend probably talking to a therapist even. But outside of that, no matter where you go, no matter where you look, no matter how far you run, the responsibility is yours, and you have to take control. All right? That's it. That's all. I hope this one sat with you, Bianca. You say you think I turned out all right. Again, you saw how I was. And if you saw how I went from that to this, that should speak volumes for you. Because you were not as, in my personal opinion, I don't know everything about you, but you get my point. All right? Hope you have a wicked, kick-ass day. Everybody else that was watching this as well. Again, thank you so much for your precious time of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. You know what time it is. We're out, yo.